Hello everybody, my name is Chris Karazin and I am the creator of the first self-improvement course called The Pink Pill, a course specifically tailored towards Black women. I want to talk to you guys today about something that's very near and dear to me. I don't know if you know this, but for the 10 years that I've been a social media commentator and advocate for Black women, maximizing their dating options, as long as I've been on YouTube, one thing has been very constant. I absolutely am crazy about the idea of Black women dominating the game. I am absolutely committed because I know that there is so much untapped potential in a lot of us that we're just not taught. And so today I want to talk to you guys about 7 things that I notice, 7 themes really, that I notice that Black women do that keep them from dominating the game. And that means dominating romantically, socially, and even professionally. A lot of this we don't even know because nobody's taught us. And the tricky thing about etiquette is that it is actually not very polite to tell people when they are in error. Usually what people do is just stop talking to that person or seeing that person. But the person who is offending will never learn and grow because they never understand what they did wrong. So I want to talk to you guys today about some things that I've seen consistently that keep us from dominating the game. Because like I said, I know we have so much potential. I am crazy about the idea of Black women dominating the game in all aspects of life, and I want to help you get there. Okay, so the first thing is that I see that we do is that we either voluntarily or involuntarily play into harmful stereotypes. And that could be something that I see quite often, especially on YouTube, is the aggressiveness, the copious cursing, not being able to articulate without, articulate your displeasure without yelling or screaming or calling names. It really does us a disservice when we take on masculine energies and posturing because we feel threatened, because we feel like we always have to fight for ourselves. I understand where that comes from, but understand that outside of other ecosystems, that aggressive posture, all of that copious cursing is going to be a strike against you. You are not going to attract the type of people that you want to attract if you play into certain stereotypes. And I know it's not fair that we are the representatives of all Black women, but that's just how minorities are. It's not just a Black thing. It's a minority thing. Minorities represent, the majority of their culture. Whenever they go out, they are the representation. It's not fair. It just is. The second thing that I find is really, really harmful, especially when it comes to relationships, is that Black women are very, very preoccupied about what people within the Black community think about them and their choices. In fact, they are willing to make all of their choices, whether it's romantically, socially, politically, based on what the consensus is within the Black community, whether it's good or bad. We are afraid to think for ourselves because, let's face it, there are a lot of social consequences that come along with being a free thinker, with thinking, outside of what the collective thinks. And some of us are just too afraid to say, you know what, I'm going to chart my own course. Because sometimes it's lonely. And that's why I think it's very important that when you chart your own course, specifically if you take a path to try to improve yourself, that you surround yourself with like-minded people so you can find your own tribe. Very, very important to do. This is a big one, and this is a touchy one. And so I'm going to apologize in advance if I cause any triggering. But I feel like Black women don't really embrace their natural beauty. They don't maximize their natural beauty. And a lot of times they do this by, I believe that Black women have one of the most beautiful physical frames that I've ever seen. Absolutely gorgeous physical frames. But that physical frame can be distorted by extreme obesity and even overweight. I'm going to give you an example. Even when I'm 5 pounds overweight, my physical form is distorted. And a way that Black women can really dominate the game is to get their weight under control. And that may be eating healthier foods, it may be increasing your exercise, or it could be psychological, which means that you may have to seek help for the triggers, the psychological triggers that is causing you to overeat. The second thing is that we don't necessarily embrace our kinks and curls. And that doesn't mean that you don't ever wear straight hair. In fact, I'm wearing straight hair extensions right now. But we don't necessarily embrace wearing natural kinks and curls or straight blowouts that go better with our normal physical appearance. Say, for example, wearing super straight hair that would look absolutely normal on a European woman, but looks a little bit off on us because it's incongruent with our features and with our phenotype. And so while I'm a big advocate for wigs, weaves, natural hair, whatever, just keep that in mind, that it actually can take away from your authentic beauty when you're trying to hide it. The next thing, number 4, we really don't know how utterly refreshing we are. We don't understand how what we think about life and relationships and how we're able to communicate in ways, especially when it comes to personal relationships, romantic relationships, how refreshing we are because we are more open about our opinions and how we feel. And those things can be articulated in a way that aren't combative, that we can just tell people how it TI is. You don't understand how refreshing that is when other people sugarcoat everything or mask everything. I'll give you an example.
How you doing, Alvin?
Hi, Dr. Huxtable.
How are you?
Thanks for letting me in.
It's okay.
Hi, Mrs. Huxtable.
Hello, Elvin.
Is Sandra ready?
Well, not yet, but she'll be down in a little while. Would you and Dr. Huxtable like some coffee?
Coffee?
Yeah, coffee.
You mean you're gonna get it?
Yes? You're surprised?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Huxtable. I didn't think you did that kind of thing.
What kind of thing?
You know, serve.
Serve whom?
Serve him.
Oh, serve him! As in serve your man?
Well, yeah.
Let me tell you something, Elvin. You see, I am not serving Dr. Huxtable, okay?
Okay.
That's the kind of thing that goes on in a restaurant. Now, I'm going to bring him a cup of coffee, just like he brought me a cup of coffee this morning. And that, young man, is what marriage is made of. It is give and take 50-50. And if you don't get it together and drop these macho attitudes, you are never going to have anybody bringing you anything, anywhere, any place, anytime, ever. Now, what would you like in your coffee?
Maybe I could get you some coffee.
Oh, well, that's all right. I don't mind getting it, but thanks for offering.
Mrs. Huxtable was the type of woman who could tell you about yourself, but did so in such a sweet and classy manner that it was impossible to be truly offended. Black women have that potential, and we don't realize how truly refreshing that is. The fifth thing that keeps us from really being successful is that we don't always understand the cultural and communication cues outside of our community. Now, we as a Black American community, we're very comfortable with a certain level of confrontation. If we are displeased with something, we are comfortable with communicating that way. Other cultures have a different way of communicating displeasure or discomfort, and our inability to understand what those cues are can cause those people to feel uncomfortable and therefore may be repelled by you. So it's really important to understand that the way that we navigate within the community may be different from how others navigate in theirs. And so it's a good idea, and the best way for you to win in all of it is to understand these other cultures and how they communicate. One thing that I ask when I'm interacting with a person is, are they confrontational or non-confrontational? The way that you handle yourself with a non-confrontational person is not by bulldozing them or forcing them into being confrontational. The best way of doing that is by meeting them where they are, because they will feel comfortable and they won't be repelled. And here's the thing, especially when it comes to your professional life, to repel people who don't like your confrontation style can really hamper your professional prospects. So it's very, very important to understand the cultural communication styles of other people. Okay, this one is a big one. We always think that any rejection, any snub is about race. And that's not to say that it's not ever about race, but it's not always about race. If you interpret every slight or every misadventure or everything in any encounter that is negative in the prism of it's because I'm Black, then it may keep you from the personal growth that you need so that you can win. Saying it's about race is kind of just a lazy way of just saying, well, I don't have to do anything to improve because it's that person over there who's got the problem. It's not me. It's not always the case. So not everything should be looked at through the prism of race. The next one. We accept treatment that women of other races and ecosystems would never accept. And it's just not serving us in the long run. The most prominent example is our out-of-wedlock rate. We have a 77% out-of-wedlock rate within the Black community. And I can tell you, as a person who has been in this space and who has advocated for Black women to really take charge of this, other races of women, other cultures of women do not tolerate, and they have certain demands on the men that they are in relationships with prior to them having children. We don't always put those stipulations in place, and therefore we end up losing. We accept treatment that other races of women would not accept. The out-of-wedlock rate is one. Not feeling entitled to marriage. Also, feeling like you're gold digging because you want a partner that makes at least as much or more money than you. These are all treatments that do not serve Black women well. It does not serve us well. It rarely ends well. And those are the types of things that keep us from getting to the top of whatever we want to get at. And an offshoot of that is that we aim low. We set limits on what we feel like we deserve. Now, I'm not saying that you can just be this low achieving, low vibration person, negative, not very intellectually curious, and then feel entitled to an Adonis who's brilliant, is making tons of money, and absolutely falls at your feet, and you feel like that's what you're entitled to. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that we set limits on what we think we deserve, even when we have those things right, even if we are doing well, even if we are doing the work. You have to understand that the work that you do make you of a higher caliber, and as your caliber rises, so should the people around you, whether they be friends, family, and for sure and absolutely should be for your romantic prospects. All right, guys, I hope that this list was something that was helpful for you. These are things that we talk about in the Pink Pill private group, and also what's in the Pink Pill, the first self-improvement course for Black women. I'd love for you to check it out. So take a look at the link in the description box, and I will see you next video. Remember, keep it pink. Bye-bye.